Banam savajrams iva tat dridayam bibheda.
Banam savajram iva tat dridayam bibheda.
So srigvamandasha mukhair nyapatat vimana.
So srigvamandasha mukhair nyapatat vimana.
Aheti jalpati jane sukriti va riktaha.
Aheti jalpati jane sukriti va riktaha.
Evam Kshipandhanushi Samhitamutsa Saja.
Evam Kshipandhanushi Samhitamutsa Saja.
Banam Savajramiva Tadhridayam Bibheda.
Banam savajramiva tadhridayam bibheda.
Srigvamandashamukhernyapatad vimana.
Srigvamandashamukhernyapatad vimana.
Ahiti Jarpati Jani Sukriti Varikta.
Daheti Jarpati Jani Sukriti Varikta. Evam Shipandanuchi Samhitam Utsasaja. Evam Shipandanuchi Samhitam Utsasaja. Manam Savajram Hivatadridayam Bibheda. Manam Savajram Hivatadridayam Bibheda. So Srigvamandasha Mukhernyapatad vimana. So Srigvamandasha Mukhernyapatad vimana. Daheti Chaipati Jane Sukrita Rikta. Daheti Chaipati Jane Sukriti Varikta. Evam Kshipandhanushi Samhitamutsa Saja. Evam Kshipandhanushi Samhitamutsa Saja. Banam savajramiva tadhridayam bibheda. Banam savajramiva tadhridayam bibheda. Susrigvamandasha mukhernyapatad vimanat. Susrigvamandasha mukhernyapatad vimanat. Daheti jarpati jane sukriti variktaha. Daheti jarpati jane sukriti variktaha.
Matajis? Evam, in this way, Kshipan, chastising, Ravana, Dhanushi, on the bow, Sanditam, fixed an arrow, Utsasarja, released toward him, Vanam, the arrow, Saha, that arrow, Vajramiva, like a thunderbolt, Tathridayam, the heart of Ravana, Bibheda, pierced, Saha, he, Ravana, Asrik, blood, Vaman, vomiting, Dasha Mukhai, through the 10 mouths, Nyapata, fell down, Vimanat, from his airplane, alas, what happened? Iti, thus, Jalpati, roaring, Jana, and all the people present there, Sukriti Iva, like a pious man, Riktaha, when the results of his pious activities are finished. Translation purport by Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. After thus rebuking Ravana, Lord Ramachandra fixed an arrow to his bow, aimed at Ravana, and released the arrow, which pierced Ravana's heart like a thunderbolt. Upon seeing this, Ravana's followers raised a tumultuous sound, crying, "Alas, alas, what has happened? What has happened?" As Ravana, vomiting blood from his 10 mouths, uh, fell from his airplane, just as a pious man falls to earth from the heavenly planets when the results of his pious activities are exhausted. Purport. In Bhagavad Gita 9.21 it is said, Kshinya punya martyalokam vishanti. When the results of the pious activities are exhausted, those who have enjoyed in the heavenly planets fall again to earth. The fruitive activities of this material world are such that whether one acts piously or impiously, one must remain within the material world according to different conditions. For neither pious nor impious actions can relieve one from Maya's clutches of repeated birth and death. Somehow or other, Ravana was raised to an exalted position as the king of a great kingdom with all material opulences. But because of his sinful act of kidnapping Mother Sita, all the results of his pious activities were destroyed. If one offends an exalted personality, especially the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one certainly becomes most abominable. Bereft of the results of pious activities, one must fall down like Ravana and other demons. It is therefore advised that one transcend both pious and impious activities and remain in the pure state of freedom from all designations. Sarvapadhi vinirmuktam tat paratvena nirmalam. When one is fixed in devotional service, he is above the material platform. On the material platform, there are higher and lower positions. But when one is above the material platform, he is always fixed in a spiritual position. Sagunan samatityatam brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Ravana, or those like him, may be very powerful and opulent in this material world, but theirs is not a secure position, because after all they are bound by the results of the karma. Karmana deva netrana. We should not forget that we are completely dependent on the laws of nature. Prakriti krimanani gunai karmani sarvashaha ahankara vimudhatva kartahamiti manyate. The bewildered spirit soul, under the influence of the three modes of material nature, thinks himself the doer of activities that are in actuality carried out by nature. Bhagavad Gita 3.27. One should not be proud of one's exalted position and act like Ravana, thinking oneself independent of material and nature's laws. Evam kshipam danushi sandutam utsasarja banam savajram ivatat dridayam vibhedam susrik vaman dasha mukhair nyapatat vimanat daheti jalpati jane sukritiva riktaha. After thus rebuking Ravana, Lord Ramachandra fixed an arrow to his bow, aimed at Ravana, and released the arrow, which pierced Ravana's heart like a thunderbolt. Upon seeing this, Ravana's followers raised a tumultuous sound, crying, "Alas, alas, what has happened? What has happened?" As Ravana, vomiting blood from his 10 mouths, fell from his airplane, just as a pious man fall to earth from the heavenly planets when the results of his pious activities are exhausted. Om Jnana-timirandasya Gnana-shalakaya Chakshur-tamina Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu-padaya Krishna-prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamini Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Dishatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhuvevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna. So we are in 9th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. And this 9th canto is very interesting, is very instructive, because the two dynasties are described here. We are now in the culminating point of Surya Vamsha description, means dynasty of sun dynasty. And that's why we are in Lord Ramachandra pastimes. While the second part of 9th canto is describing another Vamsha, Chandra Vamsha, Moon's dynasty. And why Moon's dynasty? Because this is preparation for another canto, and which is the description of Lord Krishna sweet pastimes, Krishna Lila of 10th canto, beautiful face of the Lord. 9th canto is compared to the neck or throat, and 10th canto is to beautiful face of the Lord. And the Chandra Vamsha will be described therefore on the end of this, the second part of this chapter. Because in this dynasty, Lord Krishna himself appeared from Vasudev and Devaki. So why these descriptions are here? That may be the question. So, as we discussed before, Lord Ramachandra pastimes, maybe they are not major pastimes of Bhagavatam, but they are very, very instructive, and they are preparing ourselves to purify our heart, our consciousness, to be ready to actually enter to the higher pastimes of Lord Krishna, Krishna Lila, with proper consciousness, with proper mood. First, to purify ourselves by studying these Ram pastimes, Ram Lila pastimes, from all dirty things in the heart, just by contemplating these pastimes and discussing like we're doing now in association of other devotees. Because these pastimes are based on Dharma. This is why Ramachandra is called Maryada Purushottam. He's establishing Dharma, the religious principles, which need to be followed first, and then we can actually be able to appreciate and act on the higher level, on devotional level, be fully surrendered to the Lord. Therefore, these other rules and regulations are very emphasized in this first part of this 9th canto, and culminating in this Ramachandra pastimes. In other words, regulated devotional service, which is preparing to purify our heart, that our heart becomes softened because it's full of dirty things, of anarthas, and which maybe as influence overwhelms sometimes even someone who is engaged even fully devotional service. And that's why there are so many amazing stories are described here for someone who is a devotee of the Lord, surrendering to the Lord, but in the same time is struggling. There's inner battle with the contaminations in the heart. But still, some or other, this description of so many devotees here in the 9th canto are so amazingly described by Shukadev Goswami to Maharaj Parikshit, that anyway, even if they are struggling because they are some or other stick, they continue their bhakti, they become victorious in their practice, in their achievements, to develop pure bhakti, to fully surrender to the Lord and be fully dependent and not be disturbed at all, in spite of many challenges and they're going through in their life. So this is a very important lesson here from this first description of the Surya Vamsha, that devotees should be continue their march to achieve pure bhakti, even if our bhakti maybe not be so pure. Bhakti is pure, but our motives maybe will be not so pure. And that's why our bhakti can be motivated or contaminated because of our conditioning. Like Prabhupada said, each devotee is on the liberated state when he's engaging himself in devotional service. But because of the bad habits, we just slip down again and again. And again we have to stand up like a child. Hare Krishna. Like a child who is trying to walk. Yes. Everything is revealed gradually. Yes. It's like Srila Prabhupada was giving this example of a child who tried to walk, and child is so many times fell down, but still is encouraged to walk by parents. The parents are just encouraging child, stand up, try again, and child again will fall down, and again parents will encourage. So this is how it is important always be surrounded by seniors. By seniors, Hare Krishna, thank you. They walk, they know art of walking in this world, and then they are ready there to help us to grow, to go through this painful sometimes experience of falling down and stand up again. Falling down, stand up again. It is so true even in the material world. Michael Jordan in the material world. He said the reason why they call me GOAT is because I fell down so many times. And because I fell down so many times, I continue to stand up so many times. And I fell down so many times, and I keep going, and that's why I become better and better and better. And then that's why they call me like that. Yeah. Because nothing is beating bhakti, even in the material world. Nothing. Bhakti, this dedication, this embracing the activity, whatever you're doing, wholeheartedly. In material world, nothing is beating this. Bhakti is always the supreme in any circumstances. Not only in spiritual life, Yes. Unless I have some position, that cannot be bhakti. Unless I will, I become initiated, cannot be bhakti. No, it's not true. Bhakti is always beating any other endeavors. Why for example, why someone is on the top of the charts with his music, with his singing? Why? Because he's singing with more devotion than anyone else. That's why he's on the top. Or why someone is promoted in the work, in his job. Because of what? Because of his dedication, because of his devotion. He's fully devoted to his work. And that's why he's recognized, wow, he's working such devotion, and then he's recognized by the CEO or some managers or people who are working under him, and he's recognized, and then he's promoted. So bhakti is always the supreme in any kind of situations. But because we have different motives, sometimes bhakti, it's practiced maybe not so perfectly, and that's we're going through. That's why for us this is gradual process. We gradually grow, we gradually walk, we gradually do things better and better. And the main thing is just to remain and also be introspective. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj, he was so much emphasized. He was saying that only those who are introspective are able to look in their own hearts. Within themselves, they only can continue this march to perfection in the Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, it is just in tamoguna, it is just you doing wrong activity and you have a wrong attitude. And in Rajaguna, you're doing right activity, but you have wrong attitude. While in Sattvaguna, you're doing right activity and you have right attitude. And Prabhupada said that's not the end. Sattvaguna is not the goal. It is like a skyboard, right? That is just jumping out to achieve actually the platform of the pure devotion. Sattvam Vishuddham Vasudeva Shabditam. That's the goal. The goal is to see the Lord face to face. That the Lord is so pleased with our unconditional bhakti, with our pure dharma. Savai pumsa paro dharmo yato bhaktir adokshaje. Aituki apratihata yatmasu prasidati. Only paradharma, the supreme dharma, which is how it's performed, our religious duties, activities. How it should be do. Aituki apratihata. Without any interruption, constantly, and without any hidden motive. Yatmasu prasidati. Only then we will feel fully satisfied. Only these waters can satisfy the soul. So, so when we're doing constantly, we see this as a goal. That's why Prabhupada said that a pure devotee is a devotee who maybe is not in pure state of consciousness, but his goal is pure bhakti. Become a pure bhakti. This is the concept of Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakur. Why Baladevi Dabhushana said differently, another commentator. He said that unless you achieve pure bhakti, you are not pure devotee. You should not be considered pure devotee. So, but Srila Prabhupada chose a concept of Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakur. Once he was asked by Harishori Prabhu, who was his personal servant. Harishori Prabhu asked Srila Prabhupada, how many we have pure devotees in our movement? And Prabhupada immediately answered, without blinking the eye, 5,000. How many we have devotees? How many have devotees in our movement? 5,000. We have 5,000 pure devotees. So, because as someone is strictly follow rules and regulations, 4 rules and regulations, we have 4 rules and regulations, and chanting Hare Krishna, then it's considered as a pure devotee. Should be considered as a pure devotee. So that's why we have 5,000 pure devotees. And that time was 5,000 pure devotees when this question was asked. So therefore, this ninth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, through these stories, are just explaining us the part of our march from Shraddha to Prema. Which section? Bhajana Kriya. Someone is surrendering to Krishna, is the object of his love. I think no one has any problem here that Krishna is God, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's why we are sitting here. And Srila Prabhupada is our master, and everyone is also spiritual. And someone is choosing someone as a guide in the association of devotees for perfecting his bhajan. Bhajana Kriya means it looks like bhajan, but it's not. It's not just only looking like a bhajan, like really worship. But it will bring you gradually. We will be purified. Why? Because that's the power of bhakti. Sarvopathi vinir muktam tatparatvena nirmalam krishikana krishikashas svanam bhakti ruchyate. When the senses, first of all, are engaged in devotional service, then they become purified. Purified senses and mind means Krishna consciousness. And then gradually someone become free from all false identification. I am this, I am that, I am man, I am woman, I am French, I am Hindu. There's so much fights going on. Like this now major fight we have in Ukraine. Before they were like brothers. Actually, there's one nation, there's even same language, Bhaktivedanta Maharaj was explaining. But just because of so much identification, we are Russian, no, we are Ukraine, false ego. And what is the solution? The solution is only one. Just only what uniting people is just only, acting on the equal platform. That's what Prabhupada quoting here in this purport. Brahma Buddha Prasanatmana Shochatina Kankshti Sama Sarveshu Bhuteshu Mad Bhakti Labate Param. Unless we situate ourselves very nicely on this, by being always engaged in devotional service platform, we will be never united. We always will be fight like cats and dogs. Prabhupada used to say it in this way. Animals only fighting like that. But that's why Dvipada Pashu, when the human is not properly trained up, is like two legs animals. Is looking like human, but is animal consciousness, animal propensities. It's controlled by that. It's slave of it. And that's why Acharyas here explain this particular shloka. It's very significant because it is the shloka where Ravana is killed. By what? By arrow. Bhaktivinoda Thakur explain to us, giving more deep insight, what it means, this arrow for us. This arrow means when Lord Rama strike this arrow and pierce the heart of Ravana, is actually the name of the Lord, which devotees should be very open that is and expose himself on this everyday chanting of the holy name that will pierce our heart, our anarthas. Otherwise, Bhaktivinoda Thakur explained, our heart is like a kingdom of Ravana, which is full of pride, which is controlled by false ego, by anger, and so many other things like that. And therefore, we should we should be very engaged, very carefully, like in attentiveness. It creates pramada. And for someone who is practicing chanting Hare Krishna, someone who joined to the temple, as a member of this beautiful organization arranged by Srila Prabhupada.